Back in the 1980s, KGW went to Wyoming to examine coal mining and the way the trains brought coal to Oregon. The mines and the coal-fired electric plants kept the lights on across the West for decades. We wondered back then if a day would come when the coal trains would stop running and the big coal plants shut down. Now that day is closer than ever, and utilities are trying to figure out how to replace the dirty electricity those plants create. One side of the equation involves creating more renewable sources of energy like wind farms and solar plants. The other side is getting customers to use less power or use it at times with lower demand. With coal going away in the West, we're going to have to depend a lot more on renewable energy. But here's a big problem with that. Unlike coal with its steady supply of power, renewables go up and down a lot. Wind turbines can only make electricity when the wind blows, and solar panels can only produce power when the sun shines. And the utilities are going to have to be able to make demand go up and down at the same time as supply. And the real tricky part, it has to happen at exactly the same time.
Energy is the only commodity that has to be consumed the instant it's generated. And the grid, as you can see, has to always be in balance.
But how can you quickly move demand down when the wind stops blowing or up when the sun shines? That's what we will focus on in this report, because it is a big part of what's coming in our energy future. And the future is being created right now. And whether you like it or not, it will have a direct impact on you.
So this here is my Nest thermostat. It's a second generation thermostat.
Henry Hall in Southeast Portland is already living one version of the energy future. He's one of 20,000 Portland General Electric customers taking part in a smart thermostat experiment. He allows the power company to automatically turn his thermostat down when it's super cold outside and everyone else is turning up the heat. It's called a peak demand event because, well, the demand for energy is peaking. In the summer, he lets PGE turn his air conditioner down when it's super hot during a peak event.
They're really good about letting you adjust it yourself if you decide you want to change it if it's uncomfortable, but they also pre-adjust. So if it's going to be a hot day and they're expecting really high air conditioner usage, they will turn it down in advance to make your house colder, but it'll warm up.
A couple degrees up or down does not sound like much, but if PGE could get all 881,000 customers to take part, that does add up in a big way and would help them move demand up or down to match the supply. But there is a big hurdle to clear: the psychological impact of knowing the power company can intrude into your life, into your home or business. The utility knows it is a touchy subject. Listen to the way the PGE expert reacts when I ask him about controlling people's thermostats.
I mean, we don't control the thermostats. That's a bit intrusive. Customers don't want that.
Technically, he's right. PGE sends a message to Nest, and then Nest controls the thermostat. Some, like Henry, are fine with it either way. And it doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies knowing they can control your thermostat?
Not really. If I want to control it myself, I can just disconnect it from the wireless.
I'm energy conscious. I try to be aware of my energy usage.
Kelly Piper lives in Corbett. She's part of the same experiment and has another type of smart thermostat called an ecobee.
They will adjust my temperature by 2 degrees, either higher or lower, whether it's summer or winter, depending on the event for 2 hours, and I'm fine with that.
But as you might expect with an experimental program, it has hit a few bumps in the road. Kelly's thermostat has a screen for messages, and the first couple messages sent to her made no sense.
It said something about your thermostat will be increased by -3 degrees higher over the next 4 hours. And I thought, what?
She's also frustrated that it does not take into account her current temperature settings.
If there's a high demand on the grid system and they want to adjust the system, I have no problem with that. But they adjust it blanketly to everyone by 2 degrees, regardless of where your thermostat is set. So if I'm set at 64, they'll drop it down to 61 or 62 degrees, which is really cold. The thermostat itself is a smart program. The energy efficiency program that PGE has implemented is not so smart.
The program does allow Kelly to override the change and turn the heat back up if she wants. PGE has a second program that alerts customers who do not have smart thermometers that a peak event is coming and ask them to turn down the thermostat themselves. Both programs offer a few bucks for taking part in the peak demand events. Thermostat control is just the beginning. Not too long from now, with your permission, computers from the power company could be able to control your refrigerator, your hot water heater, even the solar panels on your roof. That would allow them on a large scale to reduce the amount of energy that's being used when supply is low, but demand is high. Take a look. This past summer on August 28th, when the temperature hit 97 degrees in Portland for the second day in a row, PGE called one of those peak events and asked customers in the experiment to turn down their power use, meaning air conditioners and fans. And many did.
This was the load curve, or the amount of demand on the system for this day of August 28th, 2019. And as you can see, as the day ramped up, so did demand for electricity. And this little thing right here, this little drop, believe it or not, is blown up over here. And you can see that by asking customers to reduce for just a short period of time, we were able to find 50 megawatts that we didn't have to purchase on the market. That meant that we saved customers a whole bunch of money.
The electricity saved was the equivalent of the amount used to power 40,000 homes. But it is hard to get customers to take part in these large-scale experiments. PGE gets 2 to 7% of its customers to take part right now. They'll need way more than that in the future. Which is why the company is also running another experiment, automatically enrolling PGE customers in various parts of its territory without asking if they want to be part of the program, and then offering them different incentives to see what works best. Those customers can also opt out. It's all geared to giving the power companies maximum flexibility in the future as their supply of energy moves up and down. And it will take some getting used to. And what about the psychology of changing the customer behavior or making them comfortable with it? You know, you don't like the term of you're controlling their thermostat.
That's right.
And it's because of the psychology of it, right?
Yeah. So we would like for people to get it, love it, and forget about it.
Which is why PGE is also running a hot water heater experiment to test if people even notice when the company controls it. A PGE contractor installed switches on every hot water heater here at the Monte Vista Apartments in Southwest Portland.
So there's an algorithm inside the switches that we use on these water heaters that take into account when the customer wants hot water, when they're normally using hot water, and that balances our requests for services. But it always puts the priority on for the customer to receive the hot water.
The apartment management loved the idea.
So it was brought to our attention. It was something that we were very interested in doing.
Because you have 280 some?
288 apartments.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a little change in the energy use at each one can really add up.
Exactly.
The switches were installed over a year ago. All the residents were informed. PGE controlled the water heaters 59 times over the first 3 months last winter. And do you get any negative feedback? People saying, hey, I don't have any hot water?
We don't.
Of the 288 apartments here, only 3 refused to allow the switch to be installed. The manager is sold. The future has arrived.
The more that people are around it and getting used to it and getting educated with it, the more comfortable they are. But I can't see us going anywhere other than that, the smart grid.
As the steady supply of electricity from coal plants becomes a smaller and smaller part of our power supply, more utilities will move to creative options to influence demand. From thermostats to refrigerators, hot water heaters, and more, part of the future seems sure to involve smart appliances that can be made to turn up or down their demand for electricity as the supply itself moves up and down. It's one of many ways the utilities are trying to now solve a future problem, the power struggle of going carbon-free without turning off the lights. I'm Pat Doris, KGW News.